Miss Transformers 96 here with another video review. This time it is of the NECA Pacific Rim Kaiju Trespasser and Knifehead. So here you go. So these are the two newest Kaiju, and I'm going to review them both together. So before we go into actual figures, let's go over the packaging. Packaging is the exact same except for the artwork down here and on the back. Here's Knifehead. I believe that's the same exact artwork that they used for the first Knifehead box. And here's the Trespasser. On the back, obviously on this one you get Trespasser up there, and here's the others in the assortment. Coyote Tango, I wasn't planning to get Coyote Tango, but now I'm really considering it, so I definitely might get him. For some reason, these came out about a week before the Jaegers are going to come out, so yeah. Obviously I picked up Knifehead, Cherno Alpha, must have for me, and then Trespasser, yeah. So just getting the boxes out of the way, and let's go over the actual figures. So here we go. So hearing that they were going to do this was pretty interesting. For those of you that don't know, because it is definitely worth telling why they did this and why their first one was very subpar. But the whole reason was NECA, before they came out with the Pacific Rim toy line, they wanted to expand. Instead of just having their figures coming out in just local toy stores and in Toys R Us's, they wanted to get it out into some other places. Walmart being one of those said that they would take the Pacific Rim toys and put them in their stores, but they wanted them to be cheaper, and therefore that's how we got this one. And the most of the figures from Series 1 get this one, which is very small and cut articulation. So that's why this one came out. And then if you're wondering why you haven't seen these at Walmart, it's because right before they were going to release them, Walmart decided to pull out, and then they were just stuck. They tried to fix as much stuff as they could, I heard, but Knifehead was just one of those characters that just did not get fixed, and he just came out like this, very subpar. I was really looking forward to this character, ecstatic to see him in stores, and in my review I'd say that it was just really disappointing, and so I was just very disappointed with that Knifehead. Definitely not the NECA standard that I'm usually seeing. So there you go. Just wanted to give you that little background because I do think it's very important. So, as you can probably tell, these are about the same figure, different heads, different backpacks, and slightly different stuff in that nature, but other than that, the same exact figures. So let's just go over Trespasser. First of all, I wasn't planning on getting both of these, really only planned to get one, and I was really like, which one should I get? I had no idea which one I was going to get. Finally decided on Knifehead, took him up to the front. This was at Toy Anxiety, and it ended up only being $25. So when I heard that, I went back and got Trespasser too. I was expecting like 30 or 35 for some reason. So at $25, it was worth getting both for me. So yeah. So as you can see, here you go. So here's Knifehead, of course, the newer version with the different paint apps and obviously much different figure. So first of all, the head sculpt. Really great. The signature Knifehead, of course. That's where the name comes from. Really very cool looking. I do like his little eyes, although I do feel like when I look at him, I just don't see the eyes at all. So I feel like, when I look at this monster, I just don't see any eyes. The jaw does have articulation, and it does move quite a lot, which is cool. Love the blue in the mouth. It's like kind of swirled in there. Looks great. Really do love it. You got some great detail on the teeth and everything. Very nice. The actual just detail on this guy, it's really quite great. It's like a black, and then, although because the lighting's quite strong here, it's a little hard to tell, but in the cracks is light blue. Really well detailed. Look at that. Beautiful. I absolutely love it. Then you do get a very pointy, the pointy nose. It's not as pointy as Knifehead, I will say, but it's definitely still pointy. Sorry, it's not as pointy as the first Knifehead. That's what I meant to say. You got this kind of like a little shell of a backpack. It's like it's black with tan, just washed in there. Very cool. Really do love the paint. The paint and the detail just alone is fantastic. I do like all the little yellow lines, and like I said, the blue runs throughout all the cracks and all the texture on his body. Obviously, you get some major battle damage here. It's all just paint battle damage, but still very cool. Just some really bright blue and turquoise and stuff like that, and to kind of simulate the glow of this. this, because I don't think their blood is actually this light, but I think it's in the movie it had such a glow, so they went with light paint to give it that glow effect. I think was very smart. I'd rather have that than just the dark paint, because this really stands out, which is really nice and definitely helps on the shelf, and it even does go into the small arm, which I think is pretty cool. And then when you keep going down, you still get all the great detail. You've got some really nice scales right there on the thigh. They really stick out, and you can really notice them. I like the way the feet kind of bend, and then you do have the legs kind of bend, and then you do have the little feet there with the nails and everything. Very neat. For the small feet, he does stand really well. And then with his arms, you do get that really unique joint, or the really unique arm where there's like a hole cut out in it. I think that's wonderful. Really great design for this character, so I'm glad that the toy was able to represent it well. And then the hand, which is just like a 3. Very neat. Overall, looks extremely accurate to the movie. The only thing I can see that's not accurate is that his skin, should be like, it should be like almost like a webbing under his arms right here, where the skin kind of just goes out, and they kind of simulate it with it having over these arms, but if they continued it, it would be like extremely movie accurate. That would hinder articulation though, so I understand why they didn't. And then on the back here, you do have this tail. It's still posable like the last one. I don't see any need for it being posable. I mean, it's not like you can do much with it anyway, and so it's fine, but just having it standard without posability would have been fine as well. So there you go. So some differences with Trespasser is that he has the black kind of skin, but it has the tan highlighting in it, which I think is really nice. I like that they're very different in paint. You've got a very, I'd call this a much more sea-oriented Knifehead, and then with Trespasser, it's more of a land base, which I think looks really cool. So I do like how the wash is filled with tan and everything, and just on his stomach, as you can see, it's very tan right there as well. The face sculpt is really quite interesting. It almost looks a little cartoony. I'm not 100% sure how accurate this is. Just the eyes being open so much, and then the mouth being open. He does almost look like he's got a broken jaw. It looks like his jaw is like over a little bit too much, which I can't say I love, but it's all right. It kind of gives him a neat kind of look, so I don't mind it that his jaw's a little off. It might just be the toy and doesn't have anything to do with the sculpting, or it might have something to do with the sculpting. I don't know. The backpack over here, very different. Of course, you get this big like shell piece with the black like kind of, I don't know what you want to call these, like horns or something. Overall, very neat. He does have the yellow lines on his body as well. It's in basically the same types of places over here, but the lines are completely different. They're in different patterns, although they're in the same basic like places that this guy has them. So I think that's kind of cool. Makes them kind of accurate to each other, but still have enough differences. He does have the posable tail as well. Overall, the same figure other than the paint. Going off of articulation, first of all, on this guy in his head, he has a ball jointed head. It can look up and down fairly well. It can also look to the side, which I think is really nice. And his mouth does open. When he's looking to the side like this, the mouth doesn't open really much. But like up here, the mouth opens quite a lot, and you can see his tongue in there, which I do really like. I think that looks really cool. Trying to give you the best look I can of it. Overall, very nice, and then you do get all this orange and red in there and yellow, which I think is really cool. So, like I said, this is, in my opinion, in my mind at least, more of like a land creature rather than the sea one. While this one is more of the sea one. Of course, they both do come from the sea, but still, just based on their looks and their colors, that's just what it kind of looks like. So over here we've got Knifehead, and his articulation, the head like mostly just swivels like that. There isn't really an up or down, it just, side to side like this, unfortunately. The mouth does open and close, like I said, very cool, really do like the mouth. Unfortunately, it doesn't stay up really well. You have to like really force it up there so that it kind of gets caught on the teeth, and then it does drop down like really easily. So can't say I love that, but nothing too huge. Ball joint and the rest of the articulation goes the same for both of these. You've got ball jointed shoulders, which looks really nice swivel. You got hinge swivel elbows, which they don't hinge very much. This is as far as they like bend, but the swivel does work nicely, and overall it's pretty good. Ball jointed wrist, which, you know, they do go up and down a little bit, but it's mostly just the swivel. Then with the mini arms, you get ball hinges at the base of the arm, which I think is quite nice, and a ball jointed at the wrist. This was a big thing that I didn't like about the first Knifehead, that the arms didn't articulate at all, and this one does, so I'm really happy about that. You can do some fun stuff with that. He's got, I mean, I guess it's a ball joint here, but it's just almost completely just a swivel right at the waist, which is kind of nice. Ball jointed hips, they do go out a decent amount, out and in. I mean, it's fairly good. And then it does go up quite far, which is nice. Hinge, swivel at the knee, which is pretty cool because you can get the feet pointed in the right direction. And then the feet, the ankles, they do hinge as well as they are on rocker joints. So overall, I mean, the points of articulation sound fantastic. Some of them are hindered. It's not terrible, but just, you know, just hearing the joints, you'd think that he has a little bit better articulation than he actually does. He's a bit hindered in places, but still not bad. You can do a lot of fun stuff with him, with them. Definitely the two most articulated kaijus that are out. So I think that that's quite nice. Overall, they just look fantastic. I really do like both of these. Let's get into some comparisons with Jaegers and Kaiju. Alright, so here's Knifehead with the Crimson Typhoon and Striker Eureka. As you can see, pretty good scale. I think that it's fairly good. Of course, we didn't see this character with either of these robots, so it's hard to tell, but overall looks good. Now let's compare him to the character who we actually see him with, which is Gypsy Danger. So here's all the kaiju together, everyone that has come out, and everyone that might ever come out, because we don't know if there are going to be any more kaiju or Jaegers that'll come out. But overall, here they all are together. What do I think about the kaiju that they gave us? You know, disappointing in some ways, happy in others. I think that the range isn't very good. I mean, we've got Leatherback, who's great, and then we've got Knifehead Trespasser and a smaller Knifehead, all of which are the same base character. I mean, one of them we just see in the beginning of the movie for a very short time, and then the other one gets some good screen time, but we just have two different versions of that one. I would have much rather had had Leatherback, just like we do, have the second version of Knifehead, and then instead of having two other slightly different versions of Knifehead, have two other kaiju that we've never gotten. And of course, I do not blame them for the mistakes. I know it's not their fault. It's not like I'm saying that they did it wrong. I think that they did probably the best that they could with the situations that they had, and by they I mean NECA. But overall, I think that we do. It is a little disappointing that our characters are very limited, and as well as you know, we've got one who's basically worthless now. I mean, there's like no point in having this guy, so that's disappointing. But as far as the others, I'm really happy with Knifehead. I'm really happy with Leatherback. I even really like Trespasser. I just don't think he's that different. So overall, a nice little bunch of kaiju. Definitely hope we get some more. There's about 3 kaiju that I would love to see us get, but don't know if that'll ever happen. But I'm hoping. So far, the Pacific Rim toy line has done extremely successful, and from what I've heard. So overall, hope we get some more, but some decent kaijus that we did get already. So here he is with Gypsy Danger. As you can see, the scale is really cool. Is it 100% accurate? I don't know. Knifehead looks pretty big here, and it really makes Gypsy Danger look small. But overall, I think that it's a great scale, even if it's not 100% movie accurate. And who knows, it might be 100% movie accurate, but if it isn't, it's still a great scale. Definitely fun to pose. As you can see him here, I've got him in a sort of a movie pose where he's, you know, holding his neck back while you know, Knifehead's trying to stab him or, you know, take a bite out of him, that type of thing. Overall, Knifehead as well as Trespasser are great. Now, the big question is which one to get. If you're somebody who doesn't have the original Knifehead, I'd say to get this Knifehead. It's definitely great. I think the battle damage is a cool, unique thing with him, which I think is really cool, and I definitely think that he's the one to get because in the movie he had a large part. If you have the original Knifehead and you only want to get one, which one do you get? Although I went back and forth about this, I think that the Knifehead is still the one to get. I just think that character-wise, he's so much better, as well as I think that figure-wise, he's a little bit more better. So yeah, so that's why I go with that. But if you don't care about posing it, you don't want, you don't care about size differences on your shelf, you just want a representation of the characters, and you already have the original Knifehead, then of course get Trespasser. But Trespasser I think should only be bought if you have already purchased the second version of Knifehead. So I think that Trespasser is more of a just how big of a Pacific Rim fan are you, basically, if you should get Trespasser, because there's not many things that are different, and you're definitely not going to have a ton of fun with Trespasser because he never fought anybody in the movie. I mean, we're told that he was just taken out by bombs and everything, and we're not even shown that. So Trespasser is a fairly less interesting character in my opinion, and therefore not one to hunt down. Overall, though, I think this is great. I really do love both of the figures. I am very happy I purchased both of them, so that's another thing. If you're thinking about buying both of them, I'd say go ahead, because they are really nice to have both of them in your collection. It just makes that Pacific Rim shelf just look even better. So I definitely do recommend getting both of them if you are okay with that, or if you've already been thinking about it. Anyway, though, I really enjoyed collecting the NECA toy line. I think it's really great. I've still got a couple more figures to get. Cherno Alpha should be out this week. Definitely picking him up, that's for sure. Coyote Tango, I'm a little iffy. I can't imagine I'd pass him up, though. So even though I'm a little iffy, I don't think that there's much of a question I'm going to get him. So I'm looking forward to them. Really hoping that NECA continues this wonderful toy line. They've got plenty more Kaiju to make. Jaegers they're kind of running out of, but I think that some battle damage Jaegers other than Gypsy Danger will be a great addition, and therefore they should continue on this toy line. So overall, there you go. Thank you so much. Hope you enjoyed this review, and thanks for watching.